All right, everyone. Well, today, James McCann was nominated for the Roberto Clemente Award, and then an hour later, the Queen of England passed away. So something's a little fishy there. I don't know about that. Just saying, looks a little weird. But other than that, welcome to Mets Weekly, presented by Empire Sports Media. We got a lot to talk about. Let's go.
On 3-2, Bader. Swings and misses, strike three. He struck him out. 5 big pitchers combined for the second no-hitter in New York Mets history.
Okay, I'll let these guys give their opening statements. We know the drill by now. Frank, in the top right, what's going on?
Well, the Mets are lucky they won 2 games yesterday because once again was locked and loaded, ready to really just unleash. But right now I'm kind of neutral, and I'm willing to see, okay, well, do it again kind of thing. Like, you had a big day against Pittsburgh, but if you do it against the Marlins in September, then I'll think we're back. But as of right now, the season ended again. We collapsed, same old Mets, all that stuff. So a lot to get into. So we'll see how it goes.
Andrew, anything you'd like to say?
Yeah, again, save. I think Frank was about to have a heart attack for the 15th time if they would have lost last night. So good for them. We still have Frank here. His blood pressure was about 175 last night. But again, take 2 out of 3 from the Pirates. Should have been a sweep. Just get, especially off that 3-game losing streak, whooping some ass in a doubleheader. An off day, which, Eric Chavez was, oh, hey, we need some off days. You got 2 off days technically this week. So, again, going into Miami, you're not going to get Sandy. So you're missing out Contra because he's pitching today, I believe. So, Pablo Lopez, you've made your bitch. And, you got you're not facing their ace. Seattle and J-Rod hopefully can help us out this weekend against the Braves. And, maybe we can get a 1.5, 2-game lead by the time Monday comes around.
I'm blaming you if the Mariners lose. So, Tony, you're here.
Yeah. As I believe his name was Bill from North Jersey said on the SMY broadcast in Game 1 of yesterday's doubleheader, these guys are going on blah. What am I trying to say? On fumes right now. These guys, looking a little lackluster. I mean, it's been like this for a month where we've been up and down and up and down. And, thank God they won 2 games yesterday. But we got a lot more work to do, especially coming off a real big missed opportunity over the weekend and on Tuesday. So let's see what they could do against Miami.
Definitely. You know what? I've always talked about the fact that one of the worst things to do is face a team that has nothing to play for in September. The September spoilers, and that's what they are. But at the end of the day, these are games they should be able to win. And they ended the week, or before this show yesterday, they ended it, on a happy note. DeGrom pitched well. They took out the Pirates and everything, and swept the doubleheader. But it definitely was disappointing to lose 3 straight games to teams that had no business being competitive with. So, recent takeaways of their play, how we've seen it. All I can say is that it's been a very weird turn of events. You went from beating the best team in baseball 2 out of 3 to losing to some of the worst teams in baseball. And then you end it with a doubleheader sweep against the worst team in baseball, which you were supposed to do. So it seemed like a 3-day delay of the job they had to get done. Frank, I'll start with you. I know you have a lot bottled up in the last 7 days. So what do you got, buddy?
I think we have further evidence of how the New York Mets completely failed with the extra roster spots, because you had an offense that was struggling. You had a lot of guys that were in slumps. P. Alonso was in a slump. Lindor was in a slump. Canada was not hanging like the way he was in August. We know the catcher position. Marte was hurt. You had all these different guys struggling. And it's like, okay, well, let's look at our bench. Is there anybody on here that we could go to for a spark? And it's like, no. In the doubleheader, The only change was the catchers. You couldn't start Devon Marrero, at least you better not, and you couldn't start Terrence Gore, at least you better not. So it's just further proof that the New York Mets, once again, are counting on what they already have, whether that's in the bullpen, which let them down, putting these games out of reach, Adonis Medina, all these guys, a 2-run game, 3-run game, also becomes a 5-run game, 6-run game. So they did that with the bullpen. And now they're doing it with the lineup. It was clear that the team was struggling offensively, and they just stuck with their guys. So, you know what? We're not going to call up a Vientos, even a Polka, just somebody that can give us a spark, a different change. Give the guys rest. Because like Tony said, the team's running on fumes. Well, guess what? Everybody's got to play both games of a doubleheader. Like the fact that you can't switch anybody out, that really screams to me lack of depth. And once again, we're knocking on wood, no more injuries, because if the next guy's up, Marrero and Terrence Gore, yikes. I mean, look out. So it's just, once again, we're crossing our fingers that everybody stays healthy and everybody's hitting, because if they don't, there's no alternatives. And I just think that's a really risky scenario to go with. But, I mean, that's the way the team is assembled right now. It's past September. Nothing you can do about it.
One of the biggest things that kind of frustrates me from the September call-ups, Devon Marrero, he's useless. We already know he's useless. Played for the Ducks, so that's all we need to do. No. Next one, Adonis Medina, just DFA'd. So that was just a waste. So even though we do like Medina for the most part, and he's come up big for us multiple times, he didn't pitch well, and then they DFA'd him. So that's another waste of a guy that could be on your roster in the postseason. Andrew, main takeaways of how they're playing, of what you're seeing with the New York Mets, and then we'll get into the meat.
The meat. Of course, yeah. Obviously, Pete Alonso struggling, and you're seeing he is the only part of this offense is when he goes down or slumping. Nobody else seemed to pick it up. When the best hitters in September are Eduardo Escobar and James McCann, that's a problem. When those are your only two guys that have been productive during the stretch where everybody went to, where Pete stopped hitting, Lindor stopped hitting, Nemo, and Marte got injured. The only two guys that seem to have stepped up, and Canada's obviously cooled off from that raging hot August, have been Eduardo Escobar and James McCann, and that's a problem. But it shows how Pete Alonso dependent this team is, and proves the point for tomorrow's video that one of the trade deadline acquisition was a complete bust. Tomorrow's video on the channel, that the Mets didn't go out and actually add the offense they needed. They tried to create something instead of just going out and getting it. And now you're seeing the fruits of that labor in September, which again, hopefully now this series, the last couple games for Pete warming back up, hopefully he can keep this going down the stretch. But if he were to get hurt, this offense will falter. And he is the only thing in this offense, which sucks. Even if Lindor is being productive, even though he's slumping a little bit, but he's being productive, he can't carry this offense. And if Pete were to go down, we're screwed.
I saw something about the Mets offense where if Pete drives in a run, the Mets are like, what was it, 60 and 20 something? I don't know, something like that. I'll try and find it. But Tony, how do you feel about this whole team in general, main takeaways of how they're playing and what you see?
Yeah, I was absolutely disgusted by the two losses in Washington. I was disgusted after Saturday's loss. I mean, how do you not get any run support for Max Scherzer against arguably the worst starting pitcher in Major League Baseball, Patrick Corbin? I mean, that was unbelievable. And to then see the next morning that they were trailing 5-1 early, and then to carry it into Tuesday after a rainout and get bombed 8-2 by the Pirates, absolutely despicable and unacceptable for this time of the year, the time of the year that we have been keying in on all season long. Just wait till September. We got a nice little schedule. It's been a gauntlet from April up until this point. I will admit it, and the Mets have handled it in stride. They have taken punches, and they have given two back all season long. I understand this team is tired. I understand players will slump like Pete Alonso and Francisco Lindor. Players will get hurt like Starling Marte did. But here's the thing. When Max Scherzer's going out there, giving you 7 consistent innings every single time out, and he has not gotten a win. In fact, Mets have lost his last, 3-4 starts? That is completely unacceptable. We were sitting here a week ago after that brilliant win against the Dodgers to take 2 out of 3, and it all feels like all that good fortune has been just completely thrown out the window. Saved the doubleheader sweep yesterday, great. I am not happy with this team right now, and they really need to go out and get a sweep this weekend and go on a long winning streak to try to separate from the Braves, or else we're going to be playing in the wild card series.
Yeah. At one point, I think with how bad the offense was for those 3 straight days, we all knew that, like, okay, the hit's coming where the Braves could be past us. And all I can say is that with the Braves playing Oakland, we are lucky that we were a half game. We came out of this Pirates series a half game ahead of them. We're walking the tightrope here, and that's all I can really say.
Let me just say, I really like this comment here, both comments from Joe here. The fact that we threw Deaca and Medina in these 2 games that were still within reach that was pathetic. We waved the white flag in a 2-1 game in the 9th inning on Saturday against the Nationals by putting in Medina, and the same thing with Deaca, whatever his name is. Absolutely terrible. I don't know about the availability of some of the other guys in the pen on those given nights, but they were both winnable games, and Buck basically waved the white flag by trying to see if he could scratch out an inning with one of those dudes, and I think you got your answer pretty affirmatively there.
Yeah, I mean, Deaca, he came out for a 2nd inning.
That's when
and
things
I
went
don't
wrong,
know
was
why.
in the 2nd inning.
I have no clue why. They probably would have got out of it if the $40 million catcher could block a pitch. Again, water under the bridge at this point. But yeah, I don't understand why down 2, down 1, these guys were coming in here. That's when you have to go to one of your high leverage guys. And obviously I'm not saying Diaz and Ottavino, but I mean, that you were still in reach of winning that game, even though how anemic the offense looked.
If you had a 6 or 7 game lead in the division and you were not playing to, the wire with the Braves here, then I can understand where you try to give one of those guys a chance, try to shave off some of the innings on your relievers' arms before the playoffs. But that's not the case right now. And we all know how much more difficult of a path it is to get to the World Series via the wild card than it is via the division, and how important it is to win the National League East. You got to have your best guys out there in close games like that.
Well, there's 3 wild cards now. I mean, you get a participation trophy if you're, the 7th best record there. Frank, did you have something you want to say?
Yeah, I think just for the Pittsburgh game in particular, that first game of the series, we're not using Diaz, not using Ottavino. The one guy that was not available that technically should have been available was Joey Rodriguez with the whole stiff neck thing. Not that he's like, oh my gosh, in a close game, at least I got Joey Rodriguez. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that maybe they go to him that next inning instead of Montez de Oca, maybe. But still, it's like with Trevor May on the IL, you're looking at Givens and Lugo. At Lugo, I mean, he pitched those 2 innings the next day. So it's a very tough when you have a shorthanded bullpen and a crappy bullpen, and listen, you're not going to go to the other guy that they called up yesterday for the 29th man, the name I will not say. You're not going to go to him. So it's just like this whole idea of they call these guys up and then they don't really utilize them. It's like Trevor Williams, he's kind of a long reliever. Dave Pearson, he's kind of a long reliever, but a starter. So it's just like, it's so much of the bench. It's like all these guys that they're saving that they kind of don't really have a role. So it's just very confusing the whole way it's constructed, honestly.
What's up with Trevor Williams? The guy's been super effective all year long, and they are taking long relief as a literal definition for him in the bullpen. The guy has been excellent. Can we see him in a 1-run game in the 7th inning? See if he could maybe even go 3. Why is it that he can only come in mop-up duties, or if a reliever or if a starting pitcher gets hurt in the middle of the innings? Why can't it be?
Tony, you know why? The emergencies. All these emergencies that the Mets have, they got to have Trevor Williams ready for that. It's just like they do with Devon Marrero. He's got to be ready for emergencies. So they'll sit him for 2 weeks because they have to be prepared for that one time that Carlos Carrasco can't get out of the game. So
I'll say this and then I'll stop because I've spoken a lot already. The only reason these guys are ever being brought up, whether it's for the doubleheaders or for, the expanded rosters, it seems to me are just to give blows to the main guys. They don't actually, I feel, think these dudes are effective and capable MLB players. They are simply brought up to try to give a rest to the other relievers in the bullpen, the other guys in the lineup. They don't actually, in my opinion, have faith in them because we know we don't, and it's very evident that on the field they don't.
And that's what bothers me so much is that, like, if Bug doesn't have confidence in these guys, why does Epler not sign all these guys that we talked about? You know what I mean? Whether it was Duffy or Joe Smith or all these other Ken Johns, like all these other guys that became available. If Bug does not trust the other guys in the minor leagues, why does Billy Epler not sign at least one of them and just see if you could find some kind of spark, anything? I just don't think that's what I worry about. Like, do the philosophies match up between Buck and Billy? I mean, that's one of the questions. Or Sandy, whoever the heck is in charge of this team. You know, I just wonder how that goes.
As for the bullpen, I think what they're seeing is, well, we're playing shitty opponents, and these guys should be able to get out of it. And then, well, we're going to get Tyler McGill back, and we're going to get Joey Lucchesi back, and we're going to get Drew Smith back because he's always healthy. So all I can say is that, like, for the meantime, I mean, be aggressive with this. That's all I got to say. And they're not going to be. And anybody that they sign will not be on the postseason roster if they pitch well. So, but other than that, what was the other thing I was going to say about
something about the wonderful bullpen and Trevor Williams and all that?
Yeah, Trevor Williams. Yeah, I don't understand why he's not put in a more scenario. I think he's proven that he's been able to take a lot of scenarios and pitch well. We've seen him spot start. We've seen him take long relief. We have seen him even get a 3-inning save. I mean, we've seen him in so many different scenarios. We all know the guy doesn't have the best stuff to be a high leverage type of guy, but I mean, the guy can manage contact. The guy knows how to throw a strike, and he's going to make the inning go quick, or you know, it goes long if he's given up hits or given up home runs, which we haven't seen this year. So other than that, I do think that Trevor Williams probably should be used in a high leverage situation, only because they don't really have any other guys outside of Diaz and Ottavino. Lugo's been good recently, but like, you know, there's some times where you're like, okay, this guy might falter. But all I can say is that, like, you know, especially the high leverage guys, you know, David Robertson was available. You know, Andrew Chafin was available. But hey, Michael Givens. So, other than that, we talked. Tony hinted about not scoring for Scherzer. Scherzer to the IL. Said he was fine, then he wasn't. It was possible that maybe he missed one start, and now he's going to miss 2 starts. The whole situation, how the Mets can address this. Do you put in David Peterson? Do you plug in? Actually, I think David Peterson's going to pitch tomorrow. But how do you feel with Max on the IL? All I can say is because we've seen them survive without him before. But Andrew, I'll start with you. How do you feel about this whole situation? Are you okay with having him miss 2 starts?
I would be a lot more okay if, as Tony said, you got a 6.5, 7-game lead against the Braves. You know, they're not on your ass. Okay, veteran pitcher. You know, save some bullets for the playoffs. I would be. You're in a dogfight here, and if it's something serious, then take the time. Obviously, you don't want him to lose him completely for October. You want him, you know, if he's got to miss 2 starts, whatever. Kind of like when Max did when Jake went down. All right, Jake, you need to stay healthy through this stretch and be the ace that we all know you can be. Well, you need to get stretched out, take some innings, do what Scherzer was doing. Enough with this 90 pitches. Start to get to the 7th inning consistently, get to that 105 pitch count, and take these next 2 starts, 3 starts, however long it's going to take, to be the ace that Max was. He can do it. We all know he can. It's just like when Scherzer did it when Jake was out. So now Jake's got to step up. Bassett's doing what Bassett does. The rest of the rotation, Carrasco and Mr. Taiwan Walker. Those 2 guys have to get back to that first half. So we all damn well know Taiwan ain't going to do that. Because you fool me once, shame on me. Do it again, you're a dumbass. So no Taiwan Walker's just straight up batting practice. He ain't going to be fixed. Carrasco, first start coming off the IL, doesn't go on a rehab assignment. You're facing the Nationals. It's kind of like a rehab assignment, but doesn't go well. Hopefully he can get back to just eat some innings, give us 6 innings a start for him. You just try to get that. And then hopefully David Peterson, Mets fans' favorite player. Twitter loves when David Peterson pitches well. So if he keeps pitching well, Mets fans' Twitter just on fire, which is great. We get to laugh at Mets fans for calling him a reliever. So here's your step-up chance. September, David, if you take that 5th spot until Scherzer comes back, maybe you get a spot in the rotation. Maybe you get a spot on this playoff roster, which you're still on the bubble if you aren't. Pitch well down the stretch, you might guarantee yourself a spot.
What was I going to say with that? Something about Scherzer or Jake. Yeah, I think he's pitched enough to where he can go past the 100 pitches. Last night, what did he go up to? Like 90?
90.
90.
And even that, I didn't even want him pitching the 7th, honestly. But
again, 9-run lead. There was no real reason to.
That's what I was saying. I mean, you already had Max down.
I
just didn't think you needed to waste those bullets. Especially you called up other pitchers for this game. Like,
yeah.
Who they call?
Exactly. They did.
Frank.
The
Frank,
offense.
Who they call? Who they call up, Frank?
The offense did their job as to what they needed to do for Jake to not have to throw 100 pitches, and that's fine. I think at this point he can get to 100 and get past 100. It all just depends on we'll see. We'll see. Again, with time, it'll keep continuing to go. He's not really having that long of innings. So if he was sitting out there, the offense is hitting, and he's being able to rest before he gets back out there, fine by me. Tony, Max Scherzer, how do you feel about this situation? Do you think that they can survive this 15-day IL period?
Yeah, I definitely do. I'm actually not as concerned about Scherzer being injured than I am him actually being on the injured list, because he came out and said he only was going to miss 1 start. My opinion is that this was another manipulation by the Mets front office for roster purposes, to get more pitchers in here in case he did have to end up going on the injured list because of a potential setback. So that's my opinion on it. I think he would have been fine after skipping just 1 start based off what we heard. But I think the Mets decided that, again, just like I said earlier, with the doubleheaders and with the September call-ups, they wanted to get more guys up here to potentially save some of the other dudes from having to throw more bullets or to, whatever it is in the lineup, being exhausted. So that's just my opinion on it. Max comes out and says he thinks he's only going to miss 1 start. I believe it. Nobody knows Max Scherzer's body than Max Scherzer himself. I like that. Obviously, they are taking some precaution going into the postseason, but again, now we have to miss 2 starts from Scherzer because pitchers have to be on the injured list for a minimum of 15 days. In short, the Mets will survive this without Scherzer because they're playing some really crummy teams over the next few weeks. Would it be nice to have him, continue? Yeah, exactly. We saw how that went so far, right? 3-3 versus these 2 scrub teams. But it would have been nice to have Scherzer, obviously. I think the one silver lining is, he gets a little bit of rest before the playoffs. But, I really think this was more manipulation by the Mets front office trying to make sure they had enough healthy arms right now in the bullpen and potentially the rotation more than it was out of necessity for Scherzer to miss multiple starts.
All right. So all I can say is that, again, I think that they're going to be able to survive this. As for the injury, I mean, it could be possible that, they were trying to get the extra arms for the emergencies and everything. You also have the oblique, which was a huge injury for Max during the middle of this season. What was it? May? June? Something like that.
It was in May.
He was out for quite a while. He was out for shorter than the usual person that is out for. Remember, he was rushing back and he was like throwing, 3 weeks after he had the injury or whatever, because he's a freaking madman. 38 years old, could be precaution again, but, all I need is him 100% for the playoffs. That's it. That's all I need right now. We've seen them survive without Scherzer. We've seen them survive without Jake and Max. So all I can say is that you have Jake at the top, you have Bassett as your 2 temporarily. So that's all I got to say. They can get through this stretch. They should be able to with the shitty teams that they are playing. As I mentioned, Bassett, let's talk about him for a second. He's on a tear right now. He has been fantastic. He has been the best number 3 in all of baseball. Let's talk about, everything that you're seeing from him. He's giving you the length, right? He's giving you the quantity. He's giving you the quality. The man just wants to go over 100 pitches. I'm sure that he would want to go 150 pitches if he could, because he loves to throw. I mean, we talk about the headliner of Jake and Max, but Bassett, he's been one of those guys where like, okay, this guy's my game 3 starter. I'm okay with that. So what are you liking from Bassett? I'll start with Tony. What do you like from what you're getting? How important has he been?
Yeah, I mean, he's been tremendous. Was it like a 2.32 ERA over his last 14 starts or something like that? I mean, Keith mentioned it on the broadcast. Other than that little like hiccup back in, I think it was May, where he had 4 or 5 really rough starts in a row, he's just been everything as advertised, and on some evenings even better. When the Mets acquired him this offseason, was really happy about the trade. And you know what I love even more, that like I guess I didn't realize, obviously not watching a whole lot of Oakland Athletic games over the years, is how much length he gives the team. I mean, it's like he'll go out, he might struggle in the 6th inning like he did yesterday, actually mitigated the damage, only gave up 1 run, stranded 2 runners, and still went back out for the 7th. You couldn't do that with Taiwan Walker. Probably couldn't do that with Carlos Carrasco. You may not even do it with Scherzer and DeGrom because you're really worried about their health. Chris Bassett went on the injured list once. It was a COVID-related reason. So, I mean, the dude's just durable as all.
And he didn't like it.
No, exactly. He's tough. We know last year taking that line drive off the head, this dude is tough, not just in the sense of physically, but mentally. And he has been awesome. And, it just goes to show how, again, important it is to win this division. Because if you can line up Scherzer, DeGrom, and Bassett in the first 3 games of a 5-game series, I mean, good luck to the opponent, because you might be seeing one of Scherzer or DeGrom again in that 5-game series. So we're talking about 4 games with those 3 pitchers, maybe even all 5, depending on how the scheduling works. The Mets are in really, really strong place right now, 1 through 3 in the rotation, as long as all of them stay healthy and things break right.
Fingers crossed. Again, I'll give you a stretch of 8 games. The last 8 games, ever since that blow up in San Diego, where he gave up, 8 runs or something. This guy's got a hard hit rate of 22%. If you think about that, let's be real for a second. That's about, for the savant page type of guys, that's like 98th percentile. This guy's managing contact like crazy, and that's what I like about him. He's durable, and he can go multiple tons and tons of innings. The man just keeps going. Another thing that I do want to talk about with him is that, we all talked about Frankie Montas as another possibility. These guys are pretty much polar opposites. Frankie Montas. Montas, he has a tough time with runners on base. Chris Bassett is one of the best with runners on base. This guy gets even better. He's so good from the stretch. And that's what I like about him. The man just takes bullets and just stands right back up. Frank, what do you like from Chris Bassett? I mean, he is the real built different. If you think about it, what do you got? And you don't have to block him on Twitter. So there you go. Great.
Yeah,
great.
That is definitely one of the other bonuses, along with all the other great things he's done that you mentioned. But what I like, he's just reliable. I mean, I think anytime that Walker goes out there, you have 2 questions. Number one, is he going to get hurt or a makeup injury, whatever? And is he going to give up like 5 runs? I mean, so you always have that question. Then with Carrasco, you're like, well, if somebody makes an error in the field, is he going to be able to overcome it? Is Carrasco all of a sudden going to give up 2 home runs in the 5th inning and a good start all of a sudden becomes an okay start? And then with Peterson, is he going to throw a strike? So those non-Max, non-Jake guys, for a lot of them, you just have those worries. But with Bassett, you know what? I know I'm getting at least 6 innings. I know he's going to keep me in the game. You know, we're not going to be in a blowout where it's going to be a hard game for the Mets to win. So I just like that, you know, every 5 days he's that guy you could trust. So that is something that it just really goes underrated. You know, like it's something that I feel like we're taking for granted at this point. But for your number 3 to do that on such a consistent basis, it's really been an X factor in the season. Because like we said, you know, Max has missed time. Jake missed plenty of time. But Bassett was that one consistent guy. And with Max down again, Bassett is that guy once again really getting the job done. And I think that, like you said, in a postseason scenario, you need guys that are tough. I mean, because you know what? The game's going to be close. It's going to be cold. The crowd's going to be into it. You need guys that can handle the big moment and guys that, especially when you get deep into the playoffs, could go that extra mile. I think Chris Bassett is the kind of guy that you need him to come out of the bullpen 3 days rest. I think he's a guy that would be more than willing to come out there. You need him to go 120 pitches? He's more than willing to do that. You can't say that about a lot of pitchers in baseball nowadays. So that is the kind of guy you definitely want on your team come postseason time. And I'm excited to see what he does when, you know, like you said, the more pressure is on, you put runners in scoring position, less than 2 outs. The harder the situation, the better he pitches. So I think that's a guy that, to me, is built perfect for a postseason run. So I'm excited to see what happens when we get there, having him on the mound.
He's pitched 161 innings, right? That's what do you have? Maybe 4 more starts left. Get guaranteed 7. I mean, this guy's going to get like 185, right? Possibly something around there. All I can say is that, like, the guy just loves to throw. The guy loves the stage. He loves to go crazy. And that's what I love about him. And what I can say is that he's definitely the guy where, you know, we talked about, you know, we said this before, Stroman. We have to bring back Stroman. He was so durable. He was our Iron Man through all of these injuries. Well, this guy has been Stroman, but he's not a dick. So, you know, it's a full-on bonus. It was like, and I really hope he takes that player option, but I also believe that he deserves a lot more. I'm going to tell you right now, I think he does, because he's a reliable starter, and that's something that a lot of contending teams are going to want. Andrew, what do you think about Bassett? You have anything else that you want to add?
Yeah, again, like you said, again, he's Stroman without a pain in the ass, and hell, he's better than Stroman because, you know, go look at his ERA in Chicago's, but that was a great culture, right, Marcus? Great team. Oh, a lot of winning going to happen in Chicago. Jason Hayward said the same thing. I know, check out him about leaving the Cardinals. Besides the point, again, he's been the most reliable guy in this rotation. Again, like you said, the one COVID stint where he, you know, caught some heat saying, I didn't want to go on a COVID list. What the hell is that? I want to pitch. So obviously he's been there. He's just dominant. Well, he's been, you know, like I said, he had that one rough stretch when he went back to the West Coast, which you would have thought, hey, him going back to where he played a majority of his career, that would have been good. No, it was completely embarrassing. But also, again, we played the Padres, and the Padres like the one team that just kick our ass twice, and he got barreled both times. But again, he's been dependable, having the guy that can go 6 innings, especially having Taiwan Walker in the second half, blowing up more like a pinata, and then, oh, he's only going an inning in the third. Bassett, you going tomorrow? All right, we need 7. All right, go 7 if need be 8 innings to save you the bullpen. And again, like you said, a playoff series, DeGrom goes game 1, Scherzer game 2, him going game 3. I wouldn't even mind him going game 2 so he can come out of the bullpen for games 4 and 5 and Scherzer goes game 3. So it would be something to think about because Bass would be like, yeah, let me come out of the bullpen 100%, and then maybe you can use him as a reliever if you go game 2, depending if you win game 1, but just an idea. But again, he'd be one of these guys you definitely, in a game 7 situation, give me the ball, I'll go out to the bullpen and pitch if need be. So again, I think he does pick up that option because you don't give him a $19 million option to be like, you know, you're not getting this option unless you're taking it. So I expect him back at $19 million, but barring he goes out and wins World Series MVP and he throws like 2 shutouts, then he probably takes no, but I would pretty confidently say he's going to pick up that option next year and be that number 2, maybe 3, depending on what Jake does.
See, that option is what you call an actual bargain, folks. All right. Let's go to, we have the man with the dog in him in Chris Bassett. Let's get to the guy that doesn't have the dog in him. Taiwan Walker. This is going to take a while. Yes, the first game of the series, pitches like shit. He's pitched like shit in the second half. He's been better compared to the second half last year, but that doesn't say much. But the ERA is not good, so fuck that. But all I can say is that main question is in the poll in the chat right now, guys. Make sure if you're watching to go vote on it if you have it. How comfortable do you feel? Do you think that Taiwan Walker should be in the starting rotation in the playoffs? Yes or no? Because we've seen him at his best and we've seen him at his very, very, very worst. Tony, how much do you trust Taiwan Walker in the postseason? Because we're getting to that time.
I don't trust him at all. And to answer your question, should he be in a potential playoff rotation? Absolutely not. I don't think there's a whole lot of teams that really deploy a 5-man rotation come playoff time. Usually you'll have enough off days in between games that you can get your first or your second pitcher in the rotation. I know the schedule is a little different this year, and I haven't fully looked at it yet. So that
I'm talking about 4 guys. I'm talking about 4 guys. We have Jake, Max, Bassett, but then you're like, okay, is Carrasco going to be healthy for it? Is Carrasco going to be inconsistent? You know, we don't know if Williams can do that type
I'm
thing.
going with Carlos Carrasco, and it's purely based off of playoff experience. He's also, like, when he's been at his best this year and throughout the last 2 years, he's been better than even Taiwan Walker has been at his best. We've seen Taiwan Walker. He is a bad team merchant. He is a stat compiler, pitches really well against poor teams. When he's going to face a team like the Dodgers or the Yankees, who didn't even have that strong of a lineup, or the Braves, for example, when he got completely bombed by them, he doesn't have it. He doesn't have the put away stuff. So for me, I'd like to see Taiwan Walker maybe give you some middle inning relief as an option come playoff time, but he's not a guy I really want to see starting a game that you're depending upon to go more than 5-6 innings, because I just don't think he has that, as you said, dog in him. Maybe you think about using him as an opener, try to get the first 2 innings of a game in a potential playoff game. I don't know how that works out. I don't know who you're planning on going to next, but as a starting pitcher where you're relying on him to go 5 or 6 innings against the best of the best come playoff time, he has no faith from me. And I definitely am going with rotation DeGrom, Scherzer, Bassett, and Carrasco come playoff time, given all their health.
Andrew, how do you feel about Taiwan Walker in the playoffs? Are you starting him game 1?
I mean, if we're doing that, I'm starting Yohan Lopez game 1. If we're making any scenario,
he said it.
You're starting Taiwan Walker game 1 of a playoff series. I'm starting the Knicks preseason.
Yeah. Okay? No, give me the 2018 Browns when they went 0-4 in the 4-0 in the preseason, and then went 0-17. Give me those guys. But yeah, Taiwan Walker, he was doing some taco giving away the last homestand. I do appreciate you're learning your second trade, because I mean, I say this, but then you say Kikuchi got a 3-year deal in the offseason. Teams are stupid, especially in Canada. They love paying shitty starters. So maybe you go up to Canada and play with the Blue Jays. They'll give him like a $48 million deal, knowing Toronto. But he ain't going to be in this rotation come playoff time. He shouldn't even be on the – if Tyler McGill shows – or Joey Lucchesi show anything, if they ever decide to play on a Major League mound again, I'm taking those guys over Taiwan Walker on a playoff roster, because they have the ability to be a reliever, or we think they can be a reliever or a swing man a la Trevor Williams. I'm taking those guys stuff over Taiwan Walker. Cookie. This got food on the mind. But yeah,
got food on the brain.
Food on the mind 24/7. But yeah, Taiwan Walker can sit at home, watch with us, eat some cookies in his little taco van, because he's sure as hell, if McGill is what we think he is coming out of the 7th inning, being that lights out guy, and if Joey Lucchesi can be anything, I'm taking those 2 guys over Taiwan Walker, and he can come sit in Binghamton and go watch the Rumble Ponies games in October, because he should not be, if those guys are what we think they are better pitchers, then should be on a playoff roster.
All right. Well, Frank, All-Star. Go ahead.
He would not be in my playoff rotation if everybody is fully healthy. I'm with Tony. I lean the guy that has the playoff experience in Carrasco. He did in Cleveland. So he's going to have to do it again. I mean, he's the guy I'm counting on to be the 4. When they signed Taiwan Walker, his intention was to be the 5, maybe even the 6 on this team when they originally signed him. You know, that was the assumption that Jake was going to be healthy and Noah was going to be healthy. You know, all these guys were going to be in the mix. So, and they kind of thought the same thing. You know, McGill, Walker, they just had all these options that it never came to fruition because injuries do happen. So I think the bigger question is that if there are any other injuries to this rotation, or like we say, if McGill is healthy, if Lucchesi is healthy, if those guys are not healthy, that's where the question is. It's like, okay, well, the real question is, would you go Taiwan Walker in the start, or would you go David Peterson? That's the real question. And that one, yeah, it's tough. I mean, they both have their pros and cons, so we hope it doesn't get to that. But I would say right now, fully healthy, no, he would not be in my starting rotation. I don't think his stuff is good enough to be in the bullpen either. I just don't see it as a role for him right now, unless he goes strictly, you know, like sinker, you know, cutter. I mean, if he goes strictly like that kind of stuff, maybe. Again, I always hoped that he could fill what Bartolo did. That was always my vision for him. But Bartolo's pitch mix and size, it's not the same animal. So if he's going to be throwing fastballs and doing the crap he does, falling behind hitters, it's not going to work. So I don't think his stuff translates that well into a reliever. So, I mean, he has an opportunity, though, you know, with the max injury. He has until the end of the month. If he doesn't show any improvements and these other guys come back, like Lucchesi, it's so hard for me to count on Lucchesi. I mean, the guy, like, he doesn't have much major league experience pitching well. He's coming back from an injury. And even with the Mets, things started off rough for him. And then he started to get going. And when he did, he got injured. So he has the left-handed thing to his advantage, which the Mets we know lack in the bullpen. He has the curve, which, again, goes to his advantage, which might be nice out of the bullpen. But it's really tough. When you get down like to the nitty-gritty, it's like, well, are we taking Alex Claudio? Or, you know, all these other guys that are on the bubble. It's like, who do we really take as those extra guys in the bullpen? I think that's the big question because we know fully healthy. I would not count on him being in the rotation.
So Joey Lucchesi is eligible for the playoff roster. But is that correct? Right?
Is he?
See, that's my question because I thought you had to have played with the team at some point this year. Is it because he was injured that he doesn't have to and he is on the 40-man? Like,
yeah, because he was on the 60-day all year.
He's still on the 60. I thought it was as long as you're on the 40, man.
That's what I'm saying. He's on the injured list, but he is on the 40, is right?
Yeah.
He is on the 40, yeah.
Okay, right. So is he eligible because he hasn't played with the team at this point yet? Like, what is everyone talks as if he is going to be a part of this playoff bullpen, but
I think injury is an exception. Is it? Like, I don't know. The IL is the exception. I don't know. As long as you're on the 40-man roster, like, I don't know. I don't know how that works, but that does definitely. If he's not eligible to play in the postseason, then that definitely shortens the options for lefties.
No, it's a moot point. You know, there's no reason to discuss him. But from what I understand, the way everyone talks about him, not just us four, but other people on Twitter and Mets social media, is that he is eligible, but I am just confused about these rules now because obviously you could call up Vientos today, but he wouldn't be eligible to be on the roster. So maybe one of you can answer, give us a firm.
Yeah, the only way he can be eligible if like the IL was an exception, like something like that. But going to Taiwan Walker, this sounds stupid saying it, but like I don't think this guy is serious about actually competing. Like at some point, I just don't think that this guy is serious. You have all of these guys, especially from the top 3, Jake, Max, Bassett, always taking accountability. This guy, every time he has a blow up, there's always an excuse. I had a blister. I had a back problem. I had a shoulder problem. My dick was tied in a knot. All I can say is that with Taiwan Walker, if you're not healthy, don't pitch. And then you go out there and you make it worse. Nope, I can pitch through it. Oh, but I didn't pitch well, so The injury is the problem. Okay, so don't pitch, but you still pitch through it. Like, this is what I mean with the Mets players. Talent, whatever. I have my thing about Taiwan Walker, him good or whatever. My main thing is stop being stupid. Don't be an idiot. Like, that's literally all I have to say. Trevor May pitching through that injury or whatever before he went down. Stop being stupid. Like, just don't do stupid shit. Like, that's all I got to ask. Like, act like you're not an idiot. Act like it. Looking at you, Alonso. But all I can say is that it's just, I don't know if this guy is actually serious. I don't know if he actually just wants to just keep pitching just because he's a free agent and he can opt out or whatever. But I have no trust in this guy. I really don't. I just don't think that this guy is actually serious and wants to win, personally, and wants to win it all. I don't know if it's personal this or personal that, where, oh, well, my numbers are good here. My numbers are good here. I should get something in free agency. But, it kind of just, it makes sense. And maybe I'm, whatever. But it makes sense. Anything else? I don't think he's serious. That's all I can say. It's just,
I mean,
he
had a bunch of procedures. So, like,
yeah, of course.
I mean,
then don't pitch.
Yeah, no. I get that. But I don't want to say he's making stuff up, or if it's just that he's an injury-prone player, maybe. But yeah. I hope not. I hope that's not the case.
Again, he's probably not making it up. But don't pitch then. Don't pitch if you're hurt.
Who's gonna pitch?
I don't know.
That's
Trevor Williams is better.
Well, the thing is, Trevor Williams is not available though. If he just pitched for Carrasco on Sunday.
Again, like, they're going to find a way to manage around it. We all know they would, right? Tommy Hunter could start, maybe. Why not? Oh. You know what I mean? Like, they'll work around. They were able to work around a Jake and a Max being out, right?
Well, yeah,
they can find a way.
Yes, but at the game where you can't make any adjustments because the game already started, you might have to pitch to a blitz.
They have everybody for emergencies, like we've said.
That's right. All the emergencies.
So we got it. We're fine. It's just I don't think he's serious. I really don't. I don't think he's serious. And that's all I can say. Talent aside, stop being an idiot. That's all I ask. Just don't be an idiot. And he's being an idiot. Not to mention pitching like shit in the second half once again. So, whatever. All-star last year, so who cares? Other than that, let's get to another all-star back in 2019 who's heating the fuck up right now. He's the best hitter in the lineup, Eduardo Escobar. All I can say, and I'll take this first.
It was 2021 All-Star.
Was he 2021
yeah.
All-Star? Damn. 2-time All-Star. God damn it.
No, one time.
One time?
Yes.
What the fuck is he doing here? Only one? All I can say is that, like, from the bottom of the lineup, I would take the hottest September, like not like Kyle Schwarber hitting all home runs, but like a monster month of this guy just going off. I don't care what you did in the first few months. You look like shit. Then we can get rid of you when Beatty comes back. But September, if you are hot like that, amazing. And especially with losing Beatty and not having Guillorme here yet, it's definitely big from the bottom of the lineup, and I give him props for how well he's hit. I asked you guys this last night. I don't know if he's been trolling all year or the pitching he's facing is shit. Don't know, but I guess we'll find out if he, has ABs in the playoffs, which he obviously will not because Mark Vientos will be, never mind. Nope, can't do that. Andrew, how do you feel about Eduardo Escobar finally getting his RBIs?
Again, much needed, and of course it comes when the rest of the lineup is hitting like shit, and he's the only guy, and the other all-star from 2019 is hitting and being your most productive hitter. And like you said, if we get hot and he can keep this going, that will be a major factor going down the line down this month. If Pete gets hot, Lindor gets hot, plus you're getting secondary offense from Eduardo Escobar, Mark Canha, Starling Marte, Jeff McNeil, this could be a really good lineup, like we said, going into the offseason. Hell, you can have Eduardo Escobar hitting 7th or 8th in this lineup the power potential, the guy can drive in a lot of RBIs, don't do anything else, but give me the good RBIs and give me some more runs in the bottom of the lineup. If we finally start to see that, that could be an X factor of winning the division, getting this secondary offense from these guys. If he can give you a good month, and Beatty's probably not coming back, barring a miracle, but Guillorme's coming back. Now do you start taking ABs away from him right when he starts to get hot? So you got to, play that, yes, Guillorme's glove, you need to get in the lineup. He gives you a little bit more longer ABs than Eduardo Escobar. But if Escobar is raging hot, why would you take ABs away from him? So that's going to be we'll see what Buck does when he gets back. But if he keeps hitting, we need it. We need as much offense as we can to take less pressure off of Pete to have to provide everything. It'd be great to see this guy continue this going into late September and early October.
Yeah, listen, if Escobar is hot, and you have to keep the bat in the lineup, which I would love, ride the hot hand. I would love for him to be red hot. Guillorme comes back, you put him at second. McNeil goes to left field if Marte has to go on the IL. Just saying. So, it's possible. Again, you have the flexibility with some of these guys. But Frank, the man, you're a big fan of Escobar. So how do you feel? Is he going to keep this up, or is he a fraud forever?
Well, he's not going to keep this up, what he's doing. I mean, he's not going to hit, 400, 500, whatever. He's not going to do that. But I've always felt all year long, he's not as bad as he's been. I always felt that he was capable of more. He's done it for too long. He'd been good for too long to all of a sudden just be this bad like that. I just didn't believe that, especially when the season first started, he got off to a good start. I think it's a matter of just give me a little bit of consistency. You know what I mean? Don't give me 6 hits in 2 days. Give me 6 hits in 4 days. You know what I mean? Give me 2, 2, and 2 instead of, 4 and 0. You know what I mean? I think it's all a matter of just trying to see some consistency from him and a little, because we've seen him have hot stretches, you know what I mean? Whether it's the Texas series or, the cycle against San Diego, like we've seen him have his good stretches here or there, but no sustainability. And I think that if he is even just playing decent, just what he's been in his career, a solid offensive player, if he's doing that, keep him in the lineup. I mean, we don't want another situation like what happened with Canna and Naquin, where they and Vogelback and Ruff, where they lose their playing time, they lose their rhythm. If you finally got Escobar hot, keep him in the lineup, please. And then if you want to give Lindor a day off, you want to give McNeil a day off, that's when you utilize Guillorme. But right now, if Escobar is playing well, you got to see if you finally have this guy going, because he's capable of more. I just know he is. So, again, he's not going to be this good, but I don't think he's going to be as bad as he was. I hope we can find that happy medium with just a little bit more consistency. Do it for a longer period of time, and we'll be in much better shape.
We saw that he was doing pretty well, like not elite, but like pretty well against left-handed pitching throughout the entire year. He's looking good from the left side of the plate since he returned from the IL. So, again, maybe that I doubt that it limits Guillorme, because Buck has a huge man crush on Guillorme. Who can't? I do as well. But Tony, how do you feel about Eduardo Escobar? Is he a fraud or not? Is he going to keep doing this?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's a fraud, but I'm cautiously optimistic by how he's been performing at the plate. Obviously, this is the best stretch that we've seen at him all year long. And as you mentioned, he's actually getting some good hacks as a left-handed hitter against the righties, which we weren't seeing much this year. But the right-handed side, he's been pretty decent for most of the year. Not great, but had some better stretches there. So it's good to see both sides now starting to come together. Andrew mentioned earlier in the stream how, Pete Alonso was really slumping lately. Lindor's been in a little bit of a slump lately. This is when you need other guys to pick up the big boppers in the lineup. This is when you need the rest of your lineup to pick it up. Even the best players in the world, the Freddie Freemans and the Trey Turners, go through slumps. The Dodgers have a deep enough lineup that they can make up for it with other guys like Chris Taylor and Will Smith, and even their backup catcher, Austin Barnes. Not something that we're accustomed to as Mets fans, seeing a backup catcher, much less our regular catcher, producing for us. But for Escobar to be doing this, it's huge. they're going to need it. They're going to need it to win this division. They're going to need it if they want to go far in the playoffs. Right now, the way it was, the way it was looking up until this point, it was 3 black holes in the bottom of the lineup every single night with Escobar and McCann, and I can't remember the other guy, but someone else that they were throwing out there for a week or so. It was really getting ugly. So to have Escobar hopefully playing up to the rest of his career norms, which is he can be a 20 to 25 home run bat that doesn't strike out every time with a runner in scoring position, they need it. So let's just hope it continues.
You talk about the 3 holes in the lineup, and that's made me think that maybe they can, kind of mix it up of like guys who, haven't been consistent all year, but whoever is hot, you can move up in the lineup or whatever like that. I personally like McNeil as the 8 hitter. I know a lot of people don't. And then I also like the possibility of putting Marte 9th. But if our catcher, we all know our catcher is going to come down to earth again, even though he is having an MVP type September. If the catcher didn't suck, which, that's a shout out to our top prospect if he was here, then you definitely can do that. But like, do we have any are we comfortable with the catcher batting anywhere but 9th? No. I like Pete in the 2-hole. We all know I do. He's amazing in the 2-hole. I don't like McNeil in cleanup personally. But they rearranged that based on Marte's injury. But like, again, it's a deeper lineup. If this guy can hit, that's all I can say. If he can hit,
you gotta. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, the idea of Marte hitting 9th or McNeil hitting 8th, I think you got to get the best hitters in your lineup as many at bats as possible. So I'm against that. I want Marte right where he is 2. I'd even explore with him maybe being the 3 hitter, getting McNeil in there at 2 somehow. I don't know, but putting them at the bottom of the order. I mean, you get all those guys on base just for a James McCann double play.
Again, if it was a deep enough lineup, that's when you could do it.
But yeah, you have to work with what you have. I hate McNeil 8th because since McNeil's a singles hitter, McNeil hits a single and then the catcher leaves him there. It's such a waste of a hit in my opinion, especially if there's nobody on. It just completely wastes whatever McNeil's giving you.
I personally like it because not only, again, yeah, he'll get on, but it'll clear the catcher spot. So we don't have to see him to lead off an inning to start a rally if we're down a few runs. Like that. That's how I see it. Mm-hmm. Or the catcher cannot suck. That'd be nice. But again, we're platooning McCann and Nito, and we all know they're going to not hit as well as they did in the Pittsburgh series. Again, Pittsburgh. Same thing I go with Eduardo Escobar. Is he trolling or is he not? Again.
Or and just hear me out. Billy Epler acquired a guy that could hit lefties at the deadline because so far Darren Ruff has been trash, and I expect that to continue. Absolutely horrific.
Tomorrow's video.
And Wilson Contreras would have solved both.
I don't know. Made too much sense.
I do give Epler a pass on the Contreras trade more than any of the others because he didn't get traded at all by the Cubs.
Well, the Cubs are stupid.
No, the Cubs are idiots for that. But what I'm assuming is that every team was interested in Contreras saw that price tag and said it was too high.
Did he put Vientos in the deal? Did he put Vientos in the deal?
I mean, we don't even know what their offer was.
Bye.
Because if he didn't, then he's just stupid. Because you're not going to call up Vientos anyway. You might as well trade him. I mean, who are we kidding? It's just.
I mean, dude, they might look at Vientos as an all-bat kind of guy that's going to eventually become this team's DH.
But why are you coveting a DH? Like, why is it like, oh, we can't? A DH is an untouchable prospect.
Here's what I think happened. They asked for Alex Ramirez, and they said no.
Well, obviously.
That's what happened.
That's what I think happened. What more do you want?
Yeah, they had Pete Crow Armstrong. They wanted to build an entire outfield of Mets prospects, and they couldn't do it. So that's why they said, we're not giving you A-Ram.
Right there. They could have just signed him. I mean, you didn't have to trade for anybody.
He's not a prospect. He's a major leaguer who's going to be in the MVP race when he comes back. So why are we Why,
We
why,
could have
why
done.
are we?
We could have done Nimmo for Hap. I mean, if that's what they were trying to do.
Fuck off. Or something else. But
Like
the
even
Cubs didn't trade him
like I
either
said,
way.
even like Christian Vasquez, like he's better than what we got offensively.
I don't know. Have you
that
seen
much.
September? Have you seen what the 2019 All-Stars doing in September?
Yeah, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me 100 times. Yikes.
But yeah, I think I think James has already come out of it because the last two at bats grounded into a double play, and then he swung at something at his eyes last night. Again, maybe he's just a little tired. A lot of plate appearances for everybody because they
Not
batted
easy
around
calling
a
a
lot.
shutout.
But he was calling a shutout, even though DeGrom's slider was not that good. I can play narrow ball too, bitch. But all I can say is that they could have done more. Okay, that's all it sums up. Okay, they could have done more. Fuck, but whatever. Time's over. It's over. Whatever. Devon Marrero is starting in the postseason. Last thing we're going to talk about is Marte. The whole deal with this. What is it? Non-displaced fracture. Fracture.
Yeah.
Huh? What? Okay. And it looks like he's going to play through it. Naquin's hot right now. It's okay to be 50-50 with this situation. By the way, everybody that's watching, please like the stream. That'd be greatly appreciated. It doesn't look like we have enough likes, and we like numbers here. You guys are just numbers to us. Joking. Tony, I'll start with you with the Starling Marte injury. How do you feel about him playing through it? How do you like this whole situation with the outfield? I know that past Naquin, we don't really have the best, but
yeah, I don't have my glasses next to me, but if I did, I'd put them on and I'd give you the doctor's opinion here. So non-displaced, if you did have a break, that would mean something was displaced, a bone in your finger, your hand, whatever it was. So that's great news. It sounded terrible on the broadcast. You could hear the impact of the ball on his hand. And before I get into how I feel about the Mets, current outfield situation with or without Marte, why does this only happen to us? Why do we lead the league getting hit by pitches? Why do we have guys get hit on the hands constantly? Travis d'Arnaud was on the Mets and was a walking paper cut, okay? One misstep going from the catchers from home plate to the dugout, and he was out for the year. He goes to the Braves. We hit him on the hand earlier this year. Not that I'm advocating for this, and he's totally fine.
You should advocate for it.
I mean, come on. I don't want to wish injury, but I kind of do. But
on
anyway,
some of those Braves.
Honestly, it makes no sense. It makes no sense. We are so snake bitten. This is good news that at least it doesn't sound like it's going to be, a terribly long injury, and we cannot afford to lose Marte down the stretch here, much less for the playoffs. So just hoping and praying that he gets back on the field ASAP, because I know Tyler Naquin had a pretty decent series in Pittsburgh against a bunch of scrubs in a ballpark, and a bunch of scrubs that he is familiar with, having played with the Reds over the last several years. I have no investment in him whatsoever. I see him as a pinch runner, maybe as a pinch hitter in a particular situation. The dude, I don't want to see him at the plate come playoff time in a big spot. So that's just me. That's how important Starling Marte.
You will, though. That's the thing. You're going to.
That's a problem.
Well,
it's either him or
have
the
you
catcher.
not seen
Take your
his
pick.
walk-off inside the park home run in what was it, the ALCS or whatever, a year where he was with Cleveland or whatever? I mean, come on now. Hey.
Yikes.
But again, you still have the flexibility of when Guillorme comes back. Like I said, Jeff goes to left field. You have your fourth outfielder and Tyler Naquin still on the bench. And you have three great outfielders. Canna moves to right field or, something like that. I'm fine with it. Does the noodle arm concept go up without Marte there? Yes. But other than that, I think that's all we got here. But Frank, anything else? Andrew, y'all want to add anything to the Marte situation? Then we'll wrap it up here.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I wasn't crazy about the going back for a second round of imaging. That was a little concerning. I was like, ooh, why do we need to go back a second time? And the one thing that stands out to me is that we know Lindor obviously fractured the finger. Now, not all fractures are the same. So, like, I don't know how similar his and Lindor's injury is. Where, like, I don't know if you really could compare, like, apples to apples, so to speak. But if it's similar to Lindor's, like, okay, it's something that a player can play through and can be successful. So, I'm not really sure how that's going to play out. Is Marte going to have to change his grip at all? Kind of like McNeil, kind of separate his hands with his like cut on his finger. I don't know how he's going to. We haven't really seen. Has he swung a bat yet? Since he's been hit, I don't know. So I think that he's one of those guys that we talk about Bassett being underrated and how important he is. Marte is really, really important to what this team does. I mean, he does so many different things. I mean, he gets a lot of the big hits in the big spots. I mean, against the Dodgers, he was in a ton of home runs. If we didn't have him there, we were in big trouble. He'll make a play in the outfield. He'll do something on the bases, whether it's steal a base or take an extra base just by putting pressure on the other team. I mean, he just finds so many ways to impact the game that he's not someone that you want to really risk. So if he needs the IL, now is the time to do it when you're playing the crap teams, because I want everybody here 100% come playoff time. I don't want to have all these guys here playing, 60%, 70%, because if all of our guys are 80%, we're not going to win. I mean, in order for this team to win, everybody's got to be as close to 100% as possible. So I think if they're even pondering ILing him, do it now while I face the crap teams. This way, come playoff time, he's fully ready. You don't have to worry about – I mean, because we've seen having plenty of times where a guy plays through an injury and, like, he's playing, but he's not the same guy he was. So I think it depends how Starling's feeling. And if he could play through it and still be pretty close to what he is, then all right, fine. But if not, I wouldn't want to risk it with him.
Yeah, this is what I don't like about it, and this is just from the roster standpoint. We talked about Marte and Joely Rodriguez unavailable yesterday. So those were two active roster spots that were unavailable, right? Then you also minus the Devon Marrero and Terrence Score, who suck. So
and
that's
Aikman was playing, so you're looking
spots.
at the catcher. That's it.
Yeah,
it's literally your whole bench is the
that's
catcher.
It. Like,
well, they can't use either because of emergencies. It's literally no bench. It's actually no bench.
4 guys, 4 spots that are out.
Yeah.
Again, are you saying we have troubles with the bench? It's like we need Luis Guillorme. Isn't that fucking weird?
Well,
isn't that weird?
And it's not so much Guillorme, it's because everybody else is terrible.
I mean, yeah, he makes that bench better. But hey, whatever. No one wants to admit it, especially the guy in the bottom right. But, fuck you. He's coming back, bitch.
And then probably going to blow out his groin first game back.
Anything you want to add to the Marte injury, or then we'll just wrap it up?
Well, we all know that Plum Dog's going to hit a game-winning homer off the Phillies in the wild card series if need be. Well, no, you can put it back on the 40. You can get him back on the 40, man. He's active. But we all know if we fall out of the wild card,
but then he wouldn't be
he's played. No, he's played for the team before September 1st. He can come back.
All right.
Yeah. So if we get bounced in the wild, we got to play the Phillies in the wild card, and Marte's hurt. All we need to do when you bring in, David Robertson, throw the Plum Dog up, game-winning homer.
Or you can be correct, like right, and move again Jeff to left field. And okay.
I'm not playing a scrub. We got Devon Marrero for that.
Yeah, all right. Okay. Would you much rather call up Dom Smith and play left field?
Hey, you know what? He has some home run power, so I'd rather take that than Luis Guillorme.
Even though Guillorme's got more home runs than him this year.
That's tough. When you're one of the power prospects and
you got nothing.
Is out homering you, that's gotta suck. But hopefully Dom is just non-tendered and we end that era of baseball. But let's stop talking about Dom Smith. Let's talk about our closing remarks, shall we say, to the what do they call it? The whatever. Tony, last things that you want to say, and then we'll hop off here.
Yeah, the Mets better sweep the Marlins this weekend. This better be the beginning of a big, long winning streak. Make it 5 after this weekend, and then carry that torch. I think we got Pittsburgh after that, or Cubs and then Pittsburgh. Got to make some hay. Got to make some hay while the sun's still shining, because the Braves are right on the Mets' ass. It's go time. Let's go.
All right, Frank. Other than don't suck, what do you got?
Yeah, exactly. I agree. No excuses. You have to win these games. Let's go Mariners. I mean, can somebody give us just a little bit of help, please?
Never.
I mean, just a little bit of help, just so we can have some breathing room. But yeah, I mean, no letdowns. We all hope that yesterday you saw Alonso finally get to hit the ball a little more. You saw Lindor hit the ball a little more. This kind of gets them out of all those slumps and feel good, like, oh, we still are allowed to score runs, and they can carry that into Miami. I hope, having the day off on Thursday, we just hope that they could just not score, 1 run, 2 runs over the weekend. That's all I'm asking for, because the Marlins, you want to talk about not scoring, they're on a long streak of just cannot score. So they really have got
Taiwan Walker on the mound should help.
Yeah.
But yeah. Andrew, you want to finish it off here? What do you got?
Yeah, we are all J-Rod simps this weekend, and again, fry the fish. You've whooped their ass. You've done it the majority of the season. You whooped their ass. Keep it going. You're not getting sandy. And yeah, J-Rod will hit about 4 homers this weekend, and Spencer Strider will turn into J-Rod's bitch. We're good.
Strider pitched yesterday.
Whatever. Same shit.
All right, I got one for you guys. Who hits more home runs this weekend? J-Rod against the Braves or John Birdie against the Mets?
Well, Birdie is not a home run hitter, but Birdie will cause more damage.
Yeah, but
think
it's September and we're the Mets. And we're
So
playing.
fucking the
outplays
Rockets
who?
everywhere.
Who outplays who? John Birdie's actually having a crazy season. He's actually pretty
Of course
good.
he is.
Not bad.
He leads the league in stolen bases, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's tied with him or like Tommy Edman. They're like going back and forth. Why the hell's The Rock doing the pregame?
He's having actually a really good
Los
season.
Angeles.
He's not a free agent until 2026. God damn it. Okay. Other than that, we're gonna wrap it up here. No game today, but a game tomorrow. That's
how
spreading
scheduling
information.
works. There you go.
Playing the Marlins. And yeah, beat the living crap out of them. That's what you really should do. But history suggests that.
And one other thing.
Oh no.
The Marlins love to injure the Mets. Everybody, if you see something inside, get on the damn ground. Do not risk anything. Do not get hit by more pitches. Keep your hands in the vehicle at all times. Do not get hurt by the Marlins, please.
There's too much sadness. There's way too much sadness with the Marlins in September. I swear to God.
Oh wait, do you guys?
This is going to be the real series of the year. Fuck the Dodgers. All right. Too much PTSD, folks. What do you got, Andrew?
Jeff Passan just tweeted out Jorge Cantu and Gabby Sanchez have signed 2-week contracts with the Marlins, so we're fucked.
Dude.
Cody
Why
Ross.
did you have to bring up those?
Cody Ross and Jeremy Hermida.
Yo, they were in consideration, but they wanted the third baseman, first baseman combo.
They get Nate Sheeranholtz too. Jesus Christ.
Mike Jacobs come back too.
Fuck you. All right. We're gonna hop off here. EmpireSportsMedia.com for all the New York sports, not just baseball. Video coming out tomorrow. We've hinted it a few times throughout this stream about one particular guy they got in the trade deadline and all the shitty things and what was it called? Retaliation of shit that has happened these last month. Other than that, all the links are in the description to follow us separately and all this stuff. Follow us on Twitter. All that stuff is in the description. Thank you, everybody, for anybody that tuned in live. For those watching on the playback, let's go, Mets. Got to beat these idiot teams. Don't fuck up. Don't fuck up like you did in 3 games in a row. Other than that, LFGM. We'll see you guys next time.